WWE TEASE is bringing back the Raw vs SmackDown brand supremacy storyline last night on SmackDown as the general managers Nick Aldis of SmackDown and Adam Pearce of Raw clash on the Blue Brand show on Fox. Bryan Danielson vs Andrade El Idolo has been announced in a dream match for tonight's edition of AEW Collision on TNT. Impact Wrestling reportedly are bringing in Ace Steel to be a producer for Bound for Glory this weekend. Logan Paul and Rey Mysterio go face-to-face on SmackDown, and their United States Championship matches confirmed for Crown Jewel. Bianca Belair makes her return to television on SmackDown last night. John Cena possibly hints at retirement before squaring off with Solo Sikoa. Mistico makes his AEW debut on Rampage. Brock Anderson seemingly is gone from All Elite Wrestling, and SmackDown next week will once again be on FS1. Hey guys, welcome back to Wrestling News 365. Hope everyone is doing very well. As always, there are plenty of news stories to get into in the world of professional wrestling. Let's start off talking about Raw versus SmackDown, because indeed, brand supremacy could be about to return. On last night's SmackDown, a new feud seemed to begin simmering that will undoubtedly have a big impact moving forward. After Jey Uso appeared during a scuffle between John Cena and Solo Sikoa with Jimmy Uso, he was escorted away by WWE security. In a backstage segment, Raw General Manager Adam Pearce was shown with SmackDown General Manager Nick Aldis, Uso, and two security guards, where Aldis was informing Jey Uso his presence was unacceptable, while Uso attempted to protest that Jimmy Uso involved himself in his title match on Raw. Aldis countered that it didn't have anything to do with SmackDown. When Aldis informed security to remove Uso and Pearce protested, Aldis instead ordered both Jey Uso and Adam Pearce to be removed from the arena. Before departing, Pearce said to Aldis, quote, "Let the games begin," before disappearing from frame as Aldis straightened his tie. Intriguing backstage action between brands ahead of Survivor Series, you don't say. Now, of course, this could be an indication we could be seeing a Survivor Series like in times gone by, where it's Raw versus SmackDown. Of course, games, it could be hinting at War Games. What do you think they're hinting at? Is this something that's going to simmer through Crown Jewel into Survivor Series? Let me know your thoughts and predictions about this in the comments section below. Now, heading into Rampage last night, we were teased and told that Tony Khan was going to announce a dream match for tonight's show on TNT, and he has announced Bryan Danielson versus Andrade El Idolo for tonight's broadcast of AEW's Saturday Night Live primetime show. Bryan Danielson is wrestling once again this Saturday in what is being billed as a dream match. Danielson will take on Andrade El Idolo. Now, as I mentioned, Tony Khan on X earlier on Friday teased that a dream match would be announced on Friday's Rampage. Danielson has wrestled frequently on Collision since returning from an injury at AEW All Out in September. Last week's show saw Danielson lose to Christian Cage after interference from Absolute Ricky Starks. El Idolo hasn't wrestled on AEW television since the September 30 edition of Collision, where he defeated Juice Robinson. FTR will also make their return on Saturday. 2 weeks ago, FTR lost the AEW World Tag Team titles in a surprise against Big Bill and Ricky Starks. On last week's episode of Collision, Cash Wheeler said they were willing to work their way back to the tag team titles. The two, along with Danielson and Adam Copeland, ended up getting into a brawl with Cage, Starks, and Bill. Now, it must be stressed as well, despite being labeled as a dream match, actually Andrade El Idolo and Bryan Danielson have faced off in singles competition before when they were both in WWE. In fact, they faced off twice. On the August 28, 2018 edition of SmackDown Live, Bryan Danielson, defeated Andrade via disqualification. That was at the Scotiabank Arena in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. The following week on SmackDown, they had the match again, a rematch, and Bryan Danielson defeated Andrade. That was at the Little Caesars Arena in Detroit, Michigan, once again on SmackDown Live. So it's not a first time ever meeting between the two, as they have faced off twice before on WWE television. What are your thoughts on this match? Are you looking forward to it? But the question is it a dream match, or is it Tony Khan playing hyperbole with some of his announcements once again? Now, Impact Wrestling presents Bound for Glory this weekend, and we're going to see Ace Steel in a producer role at the event, according to a new report. One AEW name that departed the company recently has been scouted by several sources as having a tryout this weekend with Impact Wrestling. According to a new report, as I mentioned, this is going to be taking place, and it's going to be none other than Ace Steel. PW Insider is reporting that Chris Guy, better known as Ace Steel, is being brought in for the pay-per-view in Illinois for a tryout as a producer. Now, Impact Impact did have interest in Steel when he was fired from AEW in 2022 before he was rehired by AEW to work remotely. After CM Punk's recent firing, Steel was released once again, at which point Impact reached out with the same interest and the same offer. Now, Steel did have a few matches for NWA/TNA way back in 2002. Elsewhere, announced for Impact's Bound for Glory event, Will Ospreay will take on Mike Bailey, and Trinity puts her Knockouts Championship on the line against Mickie James. There are, of course, obviously rumours from sections of fans about CM Punk, given the location of the pay-per-view, and now obviously given his connection with Ace Steel, and the fact that Impact would obviously love to have Punk there if indeed he was interested in showing up. There's nothing concrete yet to suggest it indeed is happening. Of course, if we get any more information about it, we'll let you know in future videos. But what are your thoughts on Ace Steel being involved in Impact? And is this another sign that indeed we could see a CM Punk appearance or cameo at Bound for Glory this weekend? Now, switching back to SmackDown last night, Logan Paul versus Rey Mysterio for the United States Championship is now official for Crown Jewel in Saudi Arabia. Fresh off a victory in the boxing ring, WWE superstar Logan Paul is headed to Saudi Arabia to take on Rey Mysterio for the WWE United States Championship at Crown Jewel. Paul called out Mysterio while he was still standing in the boxing ring after defeating Dylan Dennis last week, and then he and Mysterio went face-to-face during Friday's episode of SmackDown. Paul headed down to the ring and put over his own boxing victory. He told the crowd he wasn't just there for Mysterio because he already beat him in his first WWE match. He said the match at WrestleMania 38 was so long ago that Roman Reigns, quote, still showed up to work and LA Knight didn't have a job. Paul said he wasn't out to beat up Mysterio, but he has something Paul wants, the United States Championship. Mysterio came out and told Paul he reminds him a lot of Dominic Mysterio with his natural ability and passion, but a big mouth. Mysterio said he thinks Paul needs some humbling and challenged him to the title match at Crown Jewel. Paul accepted, and the two men shook hands in the ring. Crown Jewel, of course, will take place on November 4 in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. This was the second title match for the Premium Live event announced on Friday. Of course, the LA Times announced the main event will be Roman Reigns versus Knight for the undisputed WWE Universal Championship. So indeed, that match is now confirmed and taking place. Could this be Logan Paul's first bit of gold he wins in WWE? Let me know your thoughts about that. Bianca Belair is back on WWE television. She made her return last night on SmackDown. The EST of WWE indeed has returned and has saved Charlotte Flair from a beatdown from Damage Control. The EST of WWE returned on Friday night's episode of SmackDown to come to the aid of Charlotte Flair after she failed to win the Women's Championship. Belair came to Flair's rescue after Sky pinned her for the win, using the championship to protect herself from a spear while Dakota Kai distracted the referee. Sky and Bayley were beating down the challenger further before Belair's music hit. She attempted to hit Sky with a kiss of death, but it was Bayley who ended up taking the move instead. Charlotte and Belair stood tall in the ring as SmackDown went off the air. The EST is reportedly slated to be part of WWE's Crown Jewel Premium Live event in Saudi Arabia on November 4. She had not been seen on WWE television since Damage Control attacked her and targeted her knee backstage on the August 18 episode of SmackDown. The star was written off television to take a much-needed vacation and was not actually injured in the angle at all. Belair had held the Raw Women's Championship for a record 420 days prior to her break, and those within the company said she always made time to do community service events in addition to her busy media schedule. So Bianca Belair is indeed back. Now, John Cena teased possibly the end of his professional wrestling career on SmackDown last night. John Cena gave an emotional promo to the crowd that initially sounded like he was teasing retirement. Speaking about how it had been a total of 2,002 days since his last televised singles victory, Cena questioned his abilities. However, it turned out that Big Match John was just showing off his Hollywood acting chops because his forlorn presentation quickly turned around. Firing up, John Cena said that whoever came through the curtain next better be ready, and out came Solo Sikoa. However, when it ended up being a 2-on-1 beatdown with the addition of Jimmy Uso, a hooded figure attacked Jimmy Uso. It was revealed that it was none other than Jey Uso who pulled Jimmy away, beginning a brawl while Cena and Solo continued to exchange blows in the ring. In the end, Solo Sikoa was hit with an attitude adjustment before he left with Jimmy Uso. It wasn't officially confirmed, but it looks like Sikoa vs. Cena may be being set up for Crown Jewel. Of course, Cena's next advertised appearance for SmackDown and WWE is next week. He is scheduled for Crown Jewel, but then he's not scheduled for any further dates, so it could be that he's finishing this WWE run with a match against Solo Sikoa. As I mentioned earlier on in the video, after the commercial break, Jey Uso was shown backstage being kicked out of the arena along with Raw Raw general manager Adam Pearce by the SmackDown general manager Nick Aldis. So where do you think Cena's career is going to go from here? How many more matches does he have left? And is he going to face Solo Sikoa at Crown Jewel? And let's talk about Rampage last night. Rampage featured the AEW debut of Mistico. CMLL star Mistico made his highly anticipated AEW debut on the October 20 episode of Rampage, facing Rocky Romero in a highly anticipated 2 out of 3 falls match for Mexico's pound-for-pound crown, showcasing the talent from CMLL. Mistico secured the first fall with a submission hold, while Romero fought back and equalized the score by pinning Mistico with the sliced bread maneuver. Ultimately, Mistico emerged victorious by making Romero tap out to his signature submission, La Mystica. So Mistico wins that one. It has been speculated, of course, this could be the first of many appearances for Mistico in AEW, as CMLL and AEW have announced an ongoing working relationship, implying this was not a one-off. AEW was reportedly very happy with the ticket sales sold after the announcement of Mistico's AEW debut in Texas. Now, Brock Anderson looks like he's gone from All Elite Wrestling. He's no longer All Elite. 2023, of course, has seen many stars join AEW, but there's also been some talents who have departed the promotion this year as well, from Jade Cargill to Brian Pillman Jr., talent that has seen their time with Tony Khan's promotion come to an end. On AEW's roster page, it appears that Arn Anderson's son, Brock Anderson, is no longer on the site and has been removed. Anderson signed with AEW in 2021, where he was managed by his father and was part of the Nightmare family with Cody Rhodes and Lee Johnson. Brock Anderson last wrestled for the company on the August 12 edition of AEW Collision when he challenged Luchasaurus for the TNT Championship in a losing effort. So it looks like, given the fact that he's been removed from the roster page, he indeed is no longer All Elite, and Brock Anderson is done with AEW for now. Finally, next week's episode of SmackDown is going to be on FS1, which is always the case around this time of year, prior to Crown Jewel. Announced on last night's episode of SmackDown, a big programming change for next week's episode of the show. While an advert informed that SmackDown would be on FS1 next week, the same ad also confirmed a segment reference earlier on in the show. With Fox sure to tout that SmackDown would be making the move to FS1, the episode is set to feature both Roman Reigns and LA Knight. On last night's show, LA Knight came face-to-face with Paul Heyman in the opening segment of the evening. Knight referenced in the segment that there would be a contract signing for next week's SmackDown. However, he questioned if Reigns was brave enough to show up. Now, WWE are now advertising this contract segment for next week, suggesting Roman Reigns will be there, and it's going to be on FS1. So that's going to be the contract signing for the undisputed WWE Universal Championship match that was announced yesterday to be taking place as the main event of Crown Jewel. But there you go, guys. That's the latest pro wrestling news for you. Be sure to smash a like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe, bottom right-hand corner. As always, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, and I'll speak to you again very, very soon.
Hey guys, thank you for watching, listening, streaming, or however you come across this video today. Be sure to click on the video on the right there to watch our next video, or click the bottom there to subscribe, or the bottom right-hand corner. Thank you very much, and I'll speak to you again very soon.